Paul Hindemith was one of the most important German composers of the 20th century. He was born in 1895. He came of age as a composer in the time between the two world wars. When he returned from World War I, he became concertmaster at the Frankfurt Opera Orchestra, still a very young man, and he also played in a string quartet, and he was really steeped in the late Romantic spirit and repertoire. So early influences for him were Brahms, Strauss, Reger, early Schoenberg, Debussy. However, in the 1920s, his compositional style underwent a transformation, and it went along with his own search for identity and finding his own voice as a composer. He became a strong advocate of the movement, which at the time was emerging in the literature, in art, in architecture, and in music, of course. And it was called Neue Sachlichkeit, or New Objectivity. It was a direct response to Expressionism and Romanticism, emerging right after World War I, during the Weimar Republic. The piece I'm playing for you, the Sonata for solo cello, was written in 1923. It's a good example of this new objectivity. Its outer movements, there are 5 movements, they're very short and distinct movements. The outer movements, they are the most powerful and probably also the most daring movements in terms of exploring dissonance and exploring friction. The second and fourth movement, they are like little character pieces. The fourth movement, for example, the indication for the performer is play without expression, always in pianissimo. So that implies a certain objectivity, which is representative of this time period, right? Of a detachment from the indulgence of Expressionism. However, I think it's very important to know that Hindemith himself was a great performer and a wonderful, gifted violist, and he had a warm sound. And there's actually a newspaper article back in 1916, a review of his playing. And the reviewer writes, his playing is marked by serenity, utter flawlessness in fingering and bowing, a convincing nobleness of tone, thrilling elan, and profound intimacy. So all of these are very romantic characteristics. And so it's important to note that Hindemith's language emerges as a response to Romanticism, basically an emancipation against the traditional compositional languages of the time, but it comes out of this authentic and romantic background. So the middle movement, for example, of a sonata is an incredibly beautiful, slow and haunting movement, and around which the outer movements are basically built in a circular way. One thing I also wanted to mention is that actually Hindemith's music faced a lot of criticism and a lot of pushback when the Nazis came to power. And his music was labeled degenerate music. And he was forced into exile. He came to the United States. He became an American citizen. He taught at Yale University, Tanglewood, I believe also at Cornell, University of Buffalo. And he was very successful here in the United States. And he developed, it goes beyond this introduction to his solo sonata. But it is important to know that his musical language at that time was a direct expression and reaction to the events which were happening around him. And this piece now was written about almost 100 years ago. And I think playing it now is a very timely and important attempt of sensing into the anguish which we're also living through right now.